Hunter Renfrow, a Minnesota Viking? Maybe. Welcome back into the Vikings Central podcast. We have a good episode here for you guys today. We're going to talk a little bit about the wide receiver group for the Vikings. Obviously, it's a pretty top-heavy group. Justin Jefferson, probably the best wide receiver in the National Football League. And then you got Jordan Addison, who's one of the best number twos at the wide receiver position. Just a really good, rock-solid playmaker alongside Justin Jefferson. Obviously, he's got some stuff playing out as well on the legal side after his unfortunate decision that he made a couple weeks ago. And we've all heard about it and everything like that, so I'm not going to dive into that too much. But, you know, there could be some disciplinary action from the NFL. It doesn't sound like the Vikings themselves will do anything. But if it's just a pretty hefty fine or maybe a 1 or 2 game suspension, we just don't know yet. And we'll see that play out here in probably the coming weeks leading up to week 1. I just wanted to dive in, talk a little bit about this group and where I think they are at, and if they could add someone maybe like a Hunter Renfrow. Now, Hunter Renfrow, you know, he had a really good start to his career in Oakland. He, you know, had a double-digit touchdown season. Was a guy that could just really work the slot, play on the boundary as well as an outside wide receiver, and could just move the sticks. He could, you know, get open. Not the fastest guy in the world, but he's very savvy. Again, just knows how to create separation. You know, if the Vikings could get him as a 1-year deal, pretty cheap deal, I think they maybe would have did it already, and now they're going to have to address their cornerback room after the injury to Mekhi Blackmon. Wide receiver might not be that high up on their list. So, but there has been some Hunter Renfrow steam. I've heard a little bit, and there's also been some circulation around league circles. So it's something that could happen, but at this moment, I think they're going to stick with who they have. But again, before week 1, you don't know. You never know what's going to happen. I think Hunter Renfrow is going to be on a squad by week 1. And would he even make a difference? Would he slide in as a wide receiver number 3 right away? I don't think so. Because you do got Brandon Powell, who was really good last year. Another guy who can just move the sticks. And then if Jalen Naylor stays healthy, he's going to be another guy that's going to be able to make a difference because, you know, we saw that deep touchdown connection from J.J. McCarthy to Naylor in training camp yesterday. Just a really nice play, a pretty difficult catch, but McCarthy underthrew it a little bit, but pretty much dropped it in the bucket. And Naylor came down with it. The defender, I'm not sure who the exact defender was, but Naylor made a contested catch and, you know, would have been a touchdown in the game. So, yeah, if Naylor does stay healthy, he's going to be a guy that will make a big impact. And I actually think he's the favorite to be the wide receiver number 3 heading into the season. Again, if he is available, because he has had injury history in the past. So hopefully you can get past that and be a contributor this year because the Vikings are going to need it. I see Brandon Powell as maybe a wide receiver number 4. He's a smaller guy. Again, a guy that can go in and be counted on, but at the same time, you know, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be hauling in 7-8 catches a game for 100 yards. He's going to be a guy that catches 3-4 passes, move the sticks a couple times, which is very needed on this roster as well. But I just see that more as maybe the number 4, number 5 wide receiver at this point. Now, Sam Darnold's probably going to be your starting quarterback. Looks like he has developed some chemistry with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Just, you know, Jefferson himself, you know, said how good Darnold's been ripping the football around at training camp so far the first couple of days. Throws a good tight spiral, has really good touch on his passes. So it's something, you know, pretty wide receiver friendly when he does get the ball to his wide receivers. There also has been times that he's struggled in training camp so far, which, you know, happens first couple of days, and they don't even have pads on yet. So it's going to be really interesting to see, especially next week when they get pads on Monday, who's really going to show out between Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, and who definitely develops chemistry, because I don't think McCarthy's thrown much to Addison or Jefferson, but I think he's going to get mixed in a little bit. Looking farther down the depth chart of the wide receiver room, you got Tristan Jackson, who limped off the field yesterday. It seems like he's going to be okay, but he's played some downs in the National Football League, has a handful of career catches. You got Lucky Jackson, who's probably going to be more of a practice squad guy, maybe makes in this specific room might make the roster as the 5th or 6th wide receiver. And then you got guys like Thayer Thomas, who's probably going to be a practice squad guy, but he also does some punt returns, so you never know where he's at with things. But a guy that I think they really like, second-year guy in NC State, which is probably going to be a practice squad candidate. And then like Malik Knowles out of Kansas State, another guy that has good speed and has returned kicks in the past. But that's Kanane Nwangwu's job as kick returner. So Malik Knowles probably another guy that's going to be a practice squad. But yeah, just looking at this room, I won't be surprised if they do add someone. Hunter Renfrow is the main guy on my mind right now that I think they could add. But at this point, the next couple weeks, I think they just probably stick out with the group that they have, especially now, like I said, that they have to pretty much fix that cornerback room and add maybe a veteran or two to just kind of fill out that cornerback position group there. But again, guys, thanks for tuning in. I feel pretty good about the wide receiver room. I do hope they do add one more guy. Again, this episode is sponsored by That's Badass WOODART. Use code VC15 at checkout for 15% off your order. It's also sponsored by PLAYBOOK Products. Use code Vikings Central at checkout for 20% off your order. I'll put both of those links in the description. The wide receiver room looking pretty good, like I said. You got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison at the top. Who's going to win that number 3? I think the leader in the club is Jalen Naylor, but don't forget about Brandon Powell. And maybe, one of those guys, Tristan Jackson, one of the Jacksons, Tristan or Lucky Jackson, sneaks in and surprises some people. Or they add a guy, a veteran like Hunter Renfrow, before week 1. So we will see. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.